Okay. Oh, sorry. Okay. About the licensing, right? So Microsoft has three kinds of license. The Power BI has three kinds of license, but I think now there are four right now. So there are three licensing for Power BI. So the first one, we have the Power BI free. We also have the Power BI Pro. Friends, capability and ability. So I'll just talk about it a little bit. So for the free, you basically have access to my workspace. So that's your personal workspace. I'll talk about workspaces as we go along. For the pro, one thing about the pro, you can publish content to other workspaces. You can share your dashboard. You can subscribe to a dashboard or report using the pro license. And for the premium power users, basically you can publish your content to other workspaces. You can share your dashboard. You can subscribe to a dashboard, report, and other features. Also for the Power BI free, one of the key features is that you can consume content that's shared with you. So if someone from the Pro license or the Premium per user license share their content with you, basically you can consume those information. That's if they publish to web, that's for free. Okay, you can distribute for the Pro, you can distribute content to users who have a free license, and why for the Premium user, just going downwards. So you can also distribute content to people who have the Pro or free license. So the whole question comes now, okay, what is now the organizational embedded features? So one of the benefits is you can easily integrate your solution into an existing custom portal, such as SharePoint, Microsoft Teams, PowerPoint. PowerPoint just came out. The feature for you to embed Power BI into PowerPoint just came out like 2 months ago, and also other platforms. You can also improve on security. It makes use of the concept of row-level security. There's one thing about Power BI that makes it very cool in terms of hierarchy. So not everyone, you can set security parameters such as row-level security, so it will prevent some certain people from viewing certain information. So I know most bigger organizations use RLS a lot, so they call it row-level security. So depending on your role, depending on your hierarchy, you can see certain kind of information or data. Okay, so for Power BI license, is not required. So if you publish your reports to the web, so when you're publishing Power BI, you can either publish into two ways, right? You can either publish to the web or free, or you can publish to a portal or website. I will explain that when we go along. Okay, it also provides real-time update to dashboard to make quick decisions. So the idea behind it is that whenever there's a change in your dashboard, like let's take for instance, I've published my reports, I've gotten my data set from Google Drive or Microsoft Server online, right? And it's connected, I've created a dashboard around that database. So whenever I keep updating my database, like if I'm updating it daily, so what happens is if I publish my reports to the cloud or any services, right? It's also going to be updating real time. If you do things like schedule refresh or use the manual refresh, anyone you prefer using. Okay, so the three main focus for today, we'll be focusing on three main things, right? So we'll be focusing on how to create a workspace. So in Power BI, we have two kinds of workspace. We have my workspace and we have workspaces, right? So my workspace is for your personal use. That's your personal workspace. Why? Workspace is for collaboration purpose, right? So if you're in an organization and you want people in your organization to be able to view your report, you have to put it in workspaces. Also, I'll be talking about how to publish for Power BI desktop. And also I'll be talking about creating an embedded code. So there's a little bit of comparison between the Power BI published to the web and also published to the website. Let me check if any questions so far.
Not yet.
Okay. Oh, no problem. I just want to know if, because I saw a notification now that the recording was okay. Sorry, so I'm talking about the comparison now, right? So we have to, so when you publish, right, when you embed your code in Power BI, you're embedding into two places. You're either embedding to the web, or you're embedding to a website or portal. So this is just the comparison between both of them, right? So the first reports are usually public. So what it means is that if anyone has the link to you, the code you just embedded, like the code you just created, anyone can view the report. So that's why most if you're publishing to the web or public, Microsoft will always give you a warning sign. Are you sure you want to publish to the web? Just for security purpose. So most times, you won't publish things like your company's information or your marketing data to the web for everyone to be able to see it. So most times, always make sure you know what you want to publish. So reports are usually free, so anybody can view it. Logins are not required. Since it's being published to the web, that means everyone can view. So I don't need a login. It's just more like a iframe, a HTTP website that everyone can just view free. Okay, so you can also in a blog, in website, email, or social media. And these are just basic. You can also create editing, update free, and so many cool features from the Power BI published to web. So let's now talk about the website or portal. So most time people call it portal, some people call it website, right? So if you publish to a website, usually reports are usually private, logins are required because it is private, right? So most times these steps are usually organizational use, right? So if I publish to portal, reports are usually public. So if I send a link to someone that is not in my organization, that is not in my organizational tenant or my domain, the person won't be able to view the reports. Logins are required. That means unauthorized personnel can't view the reports. You have access to workspaces. That's people in your organization have access to your workspace. Just some other cool features around that. So I don't really want to waste time about presentation. Okay, so I also kept a note here, right? I said that when publishing to the web, make sure you're not publishing sensitive information such as sales data, management data, or even marketing data. So Microsoft, I said it before, Microsoft will always tell you, are you sure you want to publish to the web? So these are all the things we'll be covering today. We'll be covering how to embed your code to SharePoint Online, how to embed Power BI report into Microsoft Teams, how to embed Power BI report into PowerPoint, how to embed Power BI report into Jupyter Notebook. Also Notion is more for management tool, and also how to embed your Power BI report into a WordPress site. And lastly, I'll introduce you guys to Novel Pro for developers. So I'll stop sharing my screen and I will go to my Power BI. Okay, yeah. This is just a random data, it's not a standard data. So I'll just go to, from what I listed, so I'll show you how to embed into Power BI point. So I'll first go to my Power BI. Okay, let me just open a new tab to powerbi.com. Powerbi.com. Just give it a minute. Okay, let me see. Now, why is it taking time to load now? Okay. As that one is loaded, let's just, okay, so let me take you to, I'm trying to open my powerbi.com. I don't know why it's taking time to load. Microsoft, not now. Am I still audible?
Loud and clear.
Okay, I don't know why the network is really messing me up right now. Okay, just give me a minute. So powerbi.com. Let me try to switch network. I'm very sorry. I don't know what's happening right now. Just a minute. You're using a MTN Wi-Fi right now. I don't know where it's not going. Let me try changing my network first. Okay.
Yeah, it's possible
About
Zoom
that.
sucking up all the bandwidth.
Yeah. Okay, so okay, I think okay, so my mobile network is working. Okay, cool. I don't know why my MTN. Imagine the Wi-Fi is not working. It's not the okay. So let me just change to my developer account. Okay, so please just give me a minute. Okay, Power BI. Open. Okay, cool. Cool. Okay. So let me talk about the workspaces, right? So when you're in Power BI, I said that there are two kinds of spaces. You have the My Workspace and you have the workspace, right? So the My Workspace is for your personal use. Like if I'm creating a project that I don't want to collaborate with anyone in my organization, I use My Workspace. But if I want to create a report and I want people in my organization to be able to view the report, I use what? Workspaces, right? So if I want to go to workspaces at this side, you can see now there's a place here where we say what? Workspaces, right? So I'll just come over here. You can see, right, this is what they call workspace. Let's check first. Let's make it bigger first. You can see this is what they call my workspace. My workspace is for your personal use. I don't want to collaborate with anyone. That's why you go to my workspace. But if I want to collaborate, I use what? Workspace, right? So I click on workspace. You can see there's a button here called what? Create a new workspace. So I click on create a new workspace. I give it the workspace name as a presentation. I can just give it any description you want to give it, right? If I open the advanced, I can also add people in my admin. But for this one, since I'm using my developer account, so I'm the only one under this tenant, right? If I was using a company's account, like let's take for instance now, Toby Williams, if Toby Williams Resignator company, right? And someone in the organization has like XYZ at resignator.com. I can put like okay, specific user in my organization can have admin rights and I add them with this. But since I'm using developer account, not everyone can access the report, right? So after that, you can also you can also develop a template and do other things. But when you're done, just click on what save. So this will create like an entire workspace for you. But I didn't put picture or anything, right? So the next thing I will do now is I'll go to my Power BI desktop. This is my Power BI desktop, right? So I didn't walk you through how creating the role report, but this is just for embedded feature presentation. So now let's imagine that you've done your own reports, you've done your own designs and everything. And the next step I want to publish my reports to the cloud, right? So the first thing I do, I go to my home tab, which is over here, right? And I go to publish, which is here. Guys, so this publish. So what I need to do now is, first of all, you have to make sure you are already signed into your Power BI account. So I'll look at the account. I'm using this is my developer account. Okay, cool. So you make sure you're already signed into your Power BI account, right? So you click on publish, right? Okay, tell me, it's asking me to save. I will save it. Okay, so let me click on publish again. You see? Okay, cool. So next, I'm showing me some. So now it's asking me for the workspace I want to put it, right? So the workspace I used was, I think it was presentation or something. Yeah, this presentation, this one I created, right? So I'll click on presentation and I'll click on select. So there's one publish it. It's taking it now to the cloud. So let me just wait for a couple of minutes. Let me just give it like, let's give 30 seconds, let's say. Okay, yeah, cool. So it's showing successful, right? So what I need to do now, I can just come here, right? If I refresh, yeah, let's see. And you should have two things now. You should have your reports and your data set. So I have two things now, right? I have my report, which is over here. I also have my data set, which is over here, right? So most times, right, if you want to create things like schedule refresh or role level security, I do it in my data set. This is why I create my role level security and everything. But we're not talking about role level security today. We're doing more of embedded feature. So, and if I was working with Power BI embedded analytics, I would have used the group ID. That's for my group ID, like tenant ID and the rest. But we're doing embedded features. I click on my reports, which is over here, right? Cool. Okay, so I have my report over here. So this just gives you the same feeling like you're on Power BI desktop, right? So I can also click on edit. I can have my own visualization pane and the rest. So if you're trying to publish for the first time, you're trying to embed a code for the first time, right? Sometimes it might not work if you're doing it for the first time. So I'll show you something you need to do. You need to check some your admin settings. So if you go to settings over here, these three dots, you go to settings, you go to admin portal. So from tenants, since I'm the tenant, I'm the admin of this particular tenant. So there's actually another topic in Power BI called Power BI admin. It's actually different from the normal. These are people that have the admin rights. So for this now, right? For this to work, I have to check my tenant to make sure that I've enabled publish. So I'll go to my export. You can see export share and sharing settings, right? So you go to publish to web. You have to check if it is enabled. You can see I've enabled it, right? You also check, you click on allow existing and new code, right? You also check for apply to settings. You can put, okay, the entire organization. So most times, so a tip, right? If you're doing it for the first time and you're seeing, you go to admin tenant and you can't see anything, it means one thing, right? Okay, what it means basically is we are not the admin of this particular portal. So you have to company, right? So most times I do have admin rights to publish. That's why I cannot use my own company's Power BI account because I do have admin right to publish. And if I do have admin right to publish, you guys won't be able to see what I'm trying to do, right? For this one now, if you're trying to do it for the first time, you have admin right to publish. So try and contact your admin of your organization. Tell him, he or she, that, oh, you're trying to publish and you don't have admin rights to publish. Okay, basically can find a solution around it. And that's what the person needs to do. Just enable publishing, and that's all. And also you can also check some of your embedded code, right? So if I click on embedded code, I can see some of the code I've actually embedded in the past. So these are different. I see I've blocked some, I've activated some. So that's cool. So I'll go back to my workspace, my presentation, my report. Okay, let me check the group chat if there's any question. Okay, cool. Love that meaning. Okay. Okay. So now what I need to do now, go to file. So for my presentation, I said I'll be showing you different things. So the first one I'll show you, okay, embed to Power BI SharePoint. That'll be the first one, right? So I'll go to file. I'll go to embed. You can see embed to SharePoint online. I'll click on embed to SharePoint online. You can see this URL code. I'll copy this URL code, right? I'll go to office.com. So office.com is just like all the office packages. I just went to office.com. That's all. The same way I went to powerbi.com. So it's office.com. Cool, right? So let me check. Let me confirm if this is my account here. Because I actually have different accounts. So I want to know. Okay, yeah, this is my developer account. Okay. I'll click on these apps. I want to check all the apps. I'll look for SharePoints. Okay, that's a SharePoint, right? I'll open my SharePoint right about now. Okay. It's really fun. My MTN iNet is not working. My mobile network is not working. That was really interesting. Okay, let me confirm the account that is here. Okay, yep. Okay, cool. Okay, cool. Let me see first. Okay, interesting. So let's go here now. Let's check sites. Right? Let me see. Go to home page. Create a new post. This is not even the account I'm looking for. Funny enough. Okay. Okay, okay. This is another account. Sorry. So let me change it. I just wondered that this is not the account I'm using. I want to use. Okay. Let's give it a minute. It's gonna come up. Yep. Cool. Okay. Now, so for this, now for you to work with this, you need to have two things. You need to, first of all, you need to have created what is site. So, and when you're working with SharePoint, the idea for SharePoint is for collaboration feature, right? So SharePoint is mainly for collaboration. So most organizations use SharePoint for collaboration. So the first thing I need to create a site. So I can also go to create sites. So you have two sites of sites you can create. You can either create a team site or a communication site, right? So most times, one is private, one is public. So it depends on what you want to use it for, right? So if I say, okay, I want to create, so for team side, they're usually public, right? So for communication side, they're more of like communication. That's more like a general, like if you use Slack a lot, right? Normally you have your private group and you have your public. So the ones that everyone can view and see. That one is just more like communication, right? So for the team, it's more like private. But I don't start creating because I've already created, because it might take time now, and I don't start. Okay, so I've already created one already. So when you click on your create site, you can just click on the one you want. So I'll just use this one. I've created a site already before. So I'll come here, right? So next thing I want to do, I want to create a page. So page, right? The page concept is around, it's more like that. Everybody knows that Microsoft released Power Pages recently, right? So it's almost like this. It has the same kind of feeling. So I'll just click on, I want to use a blank page. I'll go to create page. It's going to create a page for me, right? So I won't really waste time with this. I'll just name it presentation. I'm not really doing too much, right? So I'll come here, the plus sign. I'll look for Power BI. Sorry, the plus sign. Where's the plus sign? I think I picked the wrong one. Okay, don't worry. I'll just add a new tile. Okay. It's loading. I'm coming. It's loading. Okay. Add reports. I'll paste the link. That was that link I copied from here. I'll paste it inside, enter. So it might take a little bit of time, but it's going to come out very soon. Okay, awesome. And cool. So this is just step one. This is how you embed your Power BI report into SharePoint site. Very, very easy. So all the slices are working real time. Everything is working real time, right? Cool. So that's how you do. That's the first one. So let's check the second one. The second one is okay for Microsoft Teams, right? So you can also embed your Power BI report also inside Microsoft Teams. So into us to go to your Microsoft Team. Microsoft Teams is becoming very popular lately. So let me check the account I'm using here. Okay, cool. Okay, yeah. So the first thing I need to do now is I will go to, you can see these 3 dots here. This 3 dot means what? More, right? So I'll go to this 3 dot over here. I'll click on my 3 dots. I'll click on Power BI. So my Power BI will come out, right? It just basically, I'm trying to embed it inside my, it's going to take a little bit of time, but it's coming up very soon. So the cool thing about this is that this also gives you the same experience you have in your Power BI services. You have the same experience in your Power BI on your Microsoft Team. Sorry, you don't have the same experience in Microsoft Team. You can see, right? Okay, workspaces, presentation, right? Reports. So I have the same experience, right? I can also pin this now. I can also say pin, right? I can pin this. So this now, let's take for instance now, right? You are in the marketing department and you are trying to do so many things. With this now, you can just pin the same features inside of your Microsoft Team, so that you don't need to now be going to your Power BI service all the time to check, get information. You can get information real time inside of your Microsoft Team. So this is just basically how you embed your Power BI reports in real time. Okay, still working real time. Okay, all the same features are working real time. So that's just so. Toby, please tell me if there's any question. You can always tell me. So that's how you embed inside Microsoft Teams. So let me just close this. I don't want to like start dragging the system because I'm open so many things now. Okay, so number 3 is, let me check first. Okay. Okay, so let's see. Okay. I like that question. I'll answer that when I'm done. Let me just finish everything first of all, please. Okay, so number 3 is PowerPoint. Yeah, cool. Okay, so this feature just came out like recently, like it just came out like, I don't know, just like so recent. I think it came out like 2 months ago. I'll show you. So this one now, right? I'll go to my Power BI services again. So there's a place you can see export. I can export to my Power BI, my PowerPoint, sorry, right? So I can say embed tool. So you can do it in 2 ways. First of all, I can just copy the link over here. But this one is not really secured like that. I don't really know why Microsoft made it very easy to be able to embed into PowerPoint. So I just come here. I'll copy the URL link, right? I'll open my PowerPoint. Let me change this. I'll change the account here to my developer account. Okay, cool. Give it a minute. Okay, let me open a new PowerPoint. Let me just open a new one. Okay, let me check the account here. Okay, I'll go to my insert. So if you're doing it for the first time, right, you go to get add-ins. You go to get add-ins, it's loading. You search for Power BI, right? Now, so before we used to use this Power BI tiles, but this one was a paid service. It wasn't really that dynamic enough. So this was what we used to use before, until like 2 months ago when Microsoft finally released Power BI feature. That's Power BI embedded inside of PowerPoint. So this is the new one that just came out. So this one we're going to be using. So what you just do, you just come here, you click on add your add button, right? But this is only available for people using the Office 365 plus PowerPoint 365, or you're using PowerPoint 2021 version. I know it works for 2021 version and 365, but I've not really tried it on it. I don't think it works for 2019. I definitely know it doesn't work for 2016 because I've tried it for 2016, didn't work. I've not really tried for 2019, but I know for 2021. I'm actually using Office 365, so it works for Office 365. So you can just click on add, and that's all, right? So when you have added it, you just come to your insert. You should have something here, or you can check my add-ins, right? Because you have to, this one I used to use before, Power BI tiles, when I can use the Power BI embedded. So for the Power BI tags, yeah, I think you have to pay for it. If you don't pay for it, it has this watermark stuff. So I'll just paste the code inside here. That's the URL link, and I click on insert, and voila, it pops out, right? Let me also do something. So there are two ways of doing this. Let me add a new slide. Let me add a blank slide. So it's going to come up very soon. Yep. So now if you're doing your presentation, right, you can see that you can now embed your Power BI. Now you don't need to now before people used to do this to take screenshots, right? It's very funny, but people used to take screenshots. I've been to presentation where you take some particular screenshot of the report and then start presenting to the manager and stuff like that. But now you can now embed your Power BI real time inside of your Microsoft PowerPoint. So now it's also dynamic. What I mean by dynamic is also interactive. You can also pick on some slicers, can pick on so many things. It works real time, right? And it's very cool. It's very cool. It's very cool. Everything works real time. Works real time. So now you don't need to now start taking screenshots. It works. It's just awesome. So let me show you this. Another way of doing it also. If I don't want to do it by copying this URL link, I can also come to this export button, Power BI. I can go to embed Power BI live, right? It's going to generate a code for me. You can see this code, right? I'll copy this code. I'll come here for the blank one. The same process, Power BI. I'll paste the link. I'll click on insert, and voila, pops out real time. Okay, so the next one, I'll show you how to embed how to embed your Power BI report into Jupyter Notebook, right? So I've shown you this too. So for Jupyter, these are for the developers in the house. You guys that write, these are the data scientists. The guys that like writing Python codes and everything. I actually like writing Python codes. I write a lot of Python codes. Okay, I'm trying to get where it is. Okay, come here, second. I'm looking for something. Oh, okay. So this one I'm using by Jupyter Notebook, right? So I'll be showing you two ways of doing it. So now Microsoft released a library called Power BI client. So to install it, you can either install it from a Jupyter Notebook, you can use your CMD. So let me open my CMD, right? That's my command prompt. I'll just copy this, right? But I've already installed it already, so I'll just paste it and I'll run, right? So this will install. So I'm trying to install it, right? Just copy this. So it's going to tell me it does install. I've installed it already before. So it's going to just try and check for requirements. Okay. It's telling me it's actually a new version. I'm not upgrading right now. So let me just say Python. Sorry, I want to just test. I'll say Python, right? Oh, okay. Sorry. I made a mistake. Sorry. I went to use Anaconda Jupyter Notebook. Yeah, Anaconda prompt. Yeah. Actually, because what happened there was that because of the virtual environment, I think I have like 3 Python virtual environments in my system. So it's usually, so yeah, this is what I was meant to use. Okay, cool. So we want to run this. Just want us to test if it's properly installed. I will copy this. Let's see. So say Python. It doesn't give me. Yep. So Python. So I want to run it now. Let's see. If it doesn't give me an error, okay, now you can see now no error came out, right? That means it is what properly installed. So I can go back to my Jupyter Notebook and start trying it one after the other. So the first thing I need to do, I need to run this. So the shortcut for running, just Shift Enter, run it. So for this one, I need 2 things. I need the group ID. I also need the report ID. So let me open my notepad, right? So I need 2 things. I need my group ID. Let me make my view bigger. So I need my group ID, and also need my report ID, right? Cool. So what I need to do now, I'll go back to my Power BI, the one I published here, right? If you notice, if you look at my screen, let me try zooming my screen, right? If you look at my screen, I have 2 things here. Okay, let me just escape it. Okay, let me use my magnifier. Come in. So I have 2 things already open, right? If you notice it very well. If you look at this, I have my group here. So this is my group ID over here. This is the group ID. Can you see? And I also have my report ID, which is over here also. My report ID. So these are the 2 IDs I'm looking for, right? So let me just minimize this and make it smaller back. So what I need to do, I'll copy the group ID, that's this one, right? I'll come to my notepad, I'll paste it here. So that one is for group ID. For my report ID, I'll come here, I'll copy all of this. Okay, cool. And I'll paste it here. So I have the two things I want. I want my group ID and my report ID. So let me just copy this. Right. So I'll go back to my Jupyter notebook. Group ID, paste it here. My report ID, paste it here. So this was what Microsoft used for paste it here, right? So what I need to do now is just to run this, right? So now I might also have what they call this Power BI clients. So for this to work, you have to use Azure cross-platform authentication. So I have to run this now, right? So if I run this, okay, cool. So it has given me a code. I'll copy this code. You're right. I'll copy this code. I will click on this. It's open. Okay, so just give us a couple of minutes. So I'll paste the code inside here. Enter. Right. Okay, so I'll use another account. My developer account has one. Is it on? Let me check first. Okay, cool. Okay. So I'm trying to log in right now. Okay, cool. So now I have to use my authentication. So they'll send me a Microsoft authentication. So I have to accept it. So I'll check my authentication, right? Okay, so for this to work, you have to have this Microsoft authentication. I've approved on my phone. So they've sent an authentication on my mobile phone. So it's going to work, right? Okay, cool. So this one works with Azure cross-platform identification, just for more security. So I click on continue. Then I go back to my Jupyter notebook. Cool. So I also do what? So I have to create a report to generate the report. I have to generate the report. So this is the code for this, and I'll run this. And just give it a couple of minutes. It's going to pop out very soon. Are you not popping out? Okay, yeah, cool. Network is really messing me up today. Okay, now it's out, right? So you can see now the same experience you have. I have the same now. I've embedded my Power BI report inside of my Jupyter notebook, just Python. So for some of you that might be interested in this, let me just send you. I have the GitHub repo for this. So let me just say embed. Let me check my repo. Embed Power BI. Okay, yeah, there's it. So in my GitHub repo, I've actually explained all the different process. So you can just I've documented it around my GitHub repo. So I actually have a YouTube video around this. You can also check it out. That's for some of you that might be interested in watching the YouTube video. So I've actually documented it. I will send the link to the comment section, which is here. I'll paste it. Yeah, okay. Okay, cool. So that's how you embed your Power BI report inside of what Jupyter Notebook. Cool. So this was what this was what Microsoft made. This is how we're meant to be using this in Microsoft, right? That's how we're meant to be using it in Microsoft. Okay, this is how we're meant to be using it in Microsoft. But so there was a couple of times, there was a day I was working on a project, right? And the project I was working on, I was trying to I was going to the website every time, like randomly going to the website. So I want to show you how to also use iframe to embed Power BI inside of Jupyter Notebook. So I was working on a project one time. So it was for an organization, right? So I was trying to embed, they were trying to embed a Power BI reports inside of the organizational website, but it was more secure. They were using more of they call it Power BI embedded analytics. That one has to do with more. You have to be writing a lot of .NET framework, ASP.NET and some other. You have to be using Jupyter Note and VS Code and write. This was just pure programming and it's a bit of HTML. So I'm just basically programming, right? So it got to a point, I was not using iframe to embed the report. And I thought about it. Okay, I know that there's actually iframe library in Python. So that means I can also work, you can also work with Python. So I also let me just try it out. And it's actually works. So let me just show you like a random sample, right? So I'll go to that's a random site. That's a list of, let me go to Google first. Google. I hope my screen is still visible and everyone can see list of African countries. Okay. List of African countries, right? So I have a list of different African countries. I will use the word, the wordometer. I like using this one actually. So I'll just copy this URL link. And I just thought about it. I can also embed my Power BI report inside of my this should actually be a flaw for Microsoft though, because of I don't know why it's actually working, but I just tried it. That's one thing about life. You try things and it works, right? So let me just so I'm using this library called iframe, right? So iframe is just inline frame. That's an inline frame. For people that do a lot of web development, you use this a lot, right? So Python has an iframe library. So I did it that day for the report, and I asked, okay, I'll run this, and I ran this, and I displayed it, right? And I see, right? So I have the website. So this website link now, I have it real time inside of my what Jupyter notebook. And I thought about, okay, this is cool, it's working. So why can't I do the same thing too for Power BI? And I came to my Power BI. That's one thing about my like trying things out. So I came to my Power BI. I went to File. I went to Embed, and I embed for public. Now I don't use for there are two types of embedding code. Right? You can embed for website or portal. And I told you that website or portal are usually what they're usually private and you require a login. So I want to do it without using the login. So I go to embed as publish for web or public. I click on publish for web or public. Create an embedded code. Now, so Microsoft is actually warning me that, okay, you're about to create an embedded code. Once published, anyone with internet will be able to have access to reports or data. So many things. So I'll just click on publish. This is just for practical purposes, it's not real. So let us wait. Let's things loading. Cool. Okay. So I copy this, right? So I go back to my Jupyter, right? So I will remove this. I'll just remove this, right? So for iframe to work, you need what? You need the source. You need the source code, the width and the height. So I gave the width on 1,000 pixel, the height 60. So the width 1,000 pixel, the height 600 pixel, right? So I just paste the code. That's the code Microsoft has generated for me. So what I mean by that is if I come here, that same code I just copy. If I paste it here, if I run this, right? You can see it's just like a normal app. Everyone has access to the app, right? Just like they call it SaaS, software as a service. Those are guys that do cloud computing and all those things. So I'll just paste this so everyone can have access to it, right? So everyone will be able to view that code. So the next thing I want to do now is, okay, so let me just minimize this. I'll go back to my Jupyter notebook, right? So I'll run this code and I also run this, right? And you can see, voila, it came out real time. And it's also still dynamic. The same feeling, the same interaction is inside my Jupyter notebook. Like it's actually very amazing. But I'm sure Microsoft never thought about this when they were creating. Like, if they know, they'll not have done this whole Power BI license library and everything. Okay, so that's that. The next one I want to show you is, okay, Notion. Notion is more like so I use Notion. Notion is more like a management tool. I write most of my ideas on Notion. You can do it on anything, but I write most of my ideas on Notion. Notion is actually, I like Notion a lot. I used to use this before. I used to use Microsoft to-do list, but ever since I got to know about Notion and it's the old database framework, it has actually been amazing. So I'll just show you Notion, how to embed. So let's do delete activity. Okay. So let me just show you how to embed, right? So I'll just click on the plus sign, right? No. Okay, sorry. The same code, this code here, right? That one I embedded to public. I'll copy it. I'll come here. I will paste it here. It's asking me to embed. I'll say create an embedded code. This one is just very easy. I'm going to run. That's all. So I write most of my ideas inside my because I've used some ideas for Linux or cybersecurity and everything. So most of my ideas are usually in my what do you call it, in my Notion. I use Notion a lot for ideas and everything I want to do. And it's also interactive. This is also interactive, real time interactive, like this, that, and this, and you can see just very cool. Like you can do so many things with this. So I'm not really seeing the user. I'm not showing that, okay, these are some different possibilities, right? So the last one, I think I have two more to go. Okay, for organizational website, this one is more secured. So this one, I would advise you, if you're going to put your if you're going to publish inside your organizational website, I will advise you to use publish to website or portal. So for you to work with this, you need two libraries. So this works with two libraries, right? So this works with two libraries. Up you can see my screen, right? So you need what they call the iframe. I also need what they call the embed. So for the iframe, right? So this works if I'm on my WordPress site. So these are the plugins you need to get. So it's more like plugins. So they're more like plugins. For me to do this, I have to contact my admin because in my organization we have an in-house web developer, right? So the web developer made my admin, so I have to install two things, which is the two plugins. That's the iframe and embedded plugins, which is very, very amazing. And it works very well, but it's not really a straightforward thing. So I won't want to show you this because the reason I won't be able to show you this because of right now the WordPress I'm actually using, the server has been down since yesterday. So the server has been down since yesterday. So I want to show you this, but the server has been down. So it's from the host. The host server has been down since yesterday. So I can't show you this. But I'll give a video. I did a video around it on YouTube. So I did how you can embed Power BI inside of WordPress. But it's for our advice again, please, for organizational use only. So when you're publishing, publish to portal, don't publish to public. Okay. And lastly is Novel Pro. Novel Pro is very, very easy. So I'll just give a blog post around Novel Pro. So let me just give a blog post about, so because of time and everything. So Novel Pro is used for mainly it's more like a portfolio for web developers. It's more like a portfolio for web developers, and it's actually very cool. Can I just give you the link because of time? I'm looking at time. This is just a 1 hour presentation. Come up. So I actually wrote an article around it, so you guys can just read about it because of time and everything. Right, taking time. Okay. Let me see if I have anyone open already. Okay. Okay, I think it's up here. Cool. Okay. So I'll just send you this link because of time. So you guys can always read about. So Nova Pro is very amazing. You can build your portfolio. You can also embed Power BI, and it also gives you free Power BI accounts. So you can also create embedded features with that. And lastly, so I think that was all. But I also want to introduce you guys to another feature called Power BI Embedded Analytics. So this one is actually more secured. This is what I was talking about when I said you need to write things like you need to use things like what do you call it now? Azure. So this one has to do with Azure. That's Microsoft Azure. You have to have the .NET framework from version 4.0 upwards. You need to use things like VS Code, PowerShell. This one is just basically programming. So the idea of Power BI Embedded Analytics is that it is more secure. So this is where the Power BI developer comes in, right? So this one for you to work with this is bigger organization that use it. So one cool thing is that you have to be using I think one of the key requirements is you have to have Azure accounts, because I've worked with this before. So you have to have Azure accounts, you have to have the .NET framework, you have to have some particular libraries, so many things, and you have to be very good in programming also. So you have to have this ASP.NET and some other things. But let me just show you how it works. So the idea around this is let's go to Google first, right? From Google, if I search for Power BI Embedded, you call it Power BI Embedded Analytics, right? There's actually a course. You can also take the course. It's a Microsoft course also. It's actually more advanced. So this is the advanced part of embedded analytics. This one is more secure because you have to work with Azure, and you can also put some parameters, like some different layers of security. So for some of you that might be interested, you can also take the course from Microsoft on Power BI Embedded Analytics, which is also very cool. So this is how it works, right? So if I go to Power BI Embedded, Power BI Playground. Okay, Power BI Embedded, the playground. So this is also going to show you how it works, right? So this is the playground. So I'm going to show you the playground. I think I have less than 8 minutes more, so I'm actually trying to rush things right now. Come up. Okay. Yep. So this is a playground. So this one now, you have to work with a lot of APIs, right? It works with a lot of APIs. So this is just, let me just come to the API side, right? So this one, this for people that you do this, they call them Power BI developers. So this one's more like they're more street advanced part of Power BI. So I have different APIs here that I can always work with. So I can explore different kind of APIs here. And this is basically the report itself over here. And it's actually, this just gives you the idea of how Power BI embedded analytics works. And I can see this, you can see the developer sandbox. So this is just more of like developer. This is where developers in Power BI come to. So they call them, it's more like a specialty in Power BI. I call them Power BI developers. So it's more advanced. It's has to do the Power BI embedded analytics. It's not the normal Power BI embedded I just showed you. So this is more advanced. So you can also do your research around it. And you can check some sample codes and just read, you can read about it. But I don't think myself I've actually done too much documentation around it though, but it's actually very cool. I have like different slicers. Like it just gives you, it gives you an idea of how the whole Power BI ecosystem works, like the whole embedded stuff, how it works. So let's check the slicers, south, east, west. Okay. So you can see that different APIs can always work with the filter API, the set slicers by states. Let me show sample code. Okay. So this one, for you to work with it, you have to be good with the ASP.NET framework and some other programming language like SharePoint and so PowerShell. You use a lot of PowerShell for this. So I think that was all. That's all. So I'll stop sharing my screen. And thank you very much. So Toby.
Yes, Temidayo, that was fantastic. That was an exposition into the world of Power BI and Power BI Embed. And certainly I've taken one or two things from your presentation. Even the climax of it all here, where we have this Power BI Embed, I think is definitely something that people should start looking into. Because I've been seeing, you see some job descriptions, Power BI developer, like who then is a Power BI developer, right? Maybe that's my question for you before we go into the other question. Then, like, how would you, so is a Power BI analyst a Power BI developer? Are there are there lines where they mix together?
Okay. So I also am a Power BI developer. I'll just say mine is more like I do it on the job, right? So I don't have the whole certificate and everything. So mine is more I do it on the job, right? So even the reason why I got into this Power BI development stuff because of other clients that wanted something around it. So I had to like study around it. But for a Power BI developer, it's actually the normal Power BI guys you see, the normal Power BI analysts you see, there are lots of them. So what makes you stand out is the Power BI developer, right? There's also so for a Power BI developer, you have to be very good. I always say you have to be very good with Azure, but you have to know things like Azure Synapse. So there's Azure Synapse. You have to be able to write. You have to be able to write code. So for the Power BI developers, the idea for it is let's say for instance now, right? I showed you the old Power BI publishing two ways, portal and public. So for the portal now, right, it's only people in my organization that can view it, right? If I publish to a private or portal, only people in my organization can view it. The concept around it is that, okay, let's say for instance now, I want to create it in such a way that, okay, you don't need to be in my organization to be able to view it. I can only assign you based on your email. So now let's say for instance, someone from working from company XYZ, another person working for company TTT. We're not working in the same company, but we have something in common, which is that report. So that's where the Power BI developer comes in. Now I can start writing a back end. So it's more like programming. You have to start writing. You have to write a lot of code. So it's more like a lot of codes. It's definitely a lot of code. Even me too. Most times I won't lie to you. I'm still learning. So I'm still learning. But the Power BI developer is a little bit more advanced than the normal Power BI analyst. So it's more like it's in between Power BI developer and also I don't really call it Power data engineers though, but they're almost similar, just have something in common. And what they have in common is the Azure. So that Azure a lot, the Azure Synapse is something they have in common. I think that's the really best definition I can give, the best explanation I can give right now.
Yeah,
I just dive into the field early this year, so I've not really And mine is more basically project-wise. So that's always been project-wise.
Fantastic.
Okay.
Fantastic. There, I see that Power BI just keeps finding ways to expand, and there's a lot of things that you can do with the Power BI environment, REST APIs, and um, all those aspects that require scripting or programming acumen.
Yeah.
There's also one more question here, which is, I think you're going to get to it later, is how do you publish to a particular team's
channel? I've not tried that before, but that's why I said, okay, let's see. Let me check it. Can I get back to the person on this? I've not tried it because I just normally okay, when you do that, let me just look at my teams. Because for the teams now, it depends. Okay, let me also look at my teams again. The thing about teams is that it's just more like an additional app. Okay, let me see. Okay, it's just okay. It's more like an app. I've not tried it before. I've not posted a particular channel, but I know that I've connected Power Automate to a particular channel before. But for the Power BI embedded into team, I've not tried it. But I just embed it as more for like organizational use. Except if you want to add role level security, now you can add really remove restriction in that. But I know that for things like Power Automate, you can connect it to a particular channel. Things like Power Apps, you can go to a particular channel. Things like Microsoft Teams show cards or some things like that. You can do to a particular channel. But for the Power BI own, it's just more like an app, an adding app. So I'll read into that. I've not done that before. I'll read into that.
The app, right, that you add to the Teams interface, accessible from any channel, right? If you go into any channel, you can always see the app by the side, right?
Yes.
Okay.
But what I did, when I did one for a company, I added role of security. So it was not everyone in the organization that could view it at that time, only some few people.
Okay.
So that's what but now for the particular channel, now I've not done that. Because mine, I have to check about, I have to read about it. I'm not really sure about to read about it. I know the role of security works for it.
I mean, that's it's like I get what you mean by role level security, because you're trying to approach this from, say, why is it important to publish to a specific channel? Maybe to limit access to certain parts of the document.
Yeah.
Okay. Otherwise, the person, if it's not about access, right, you can just copy and paste a report link, right? The same way you share reports in the other, like you can just copy the URL someone in that channel.
Yeah.
Okay.
I feel like embedding it to look more cool, but I think you're also right. You can also copy the link.
Okay. Fantastic. I don't know if anyone has any more questions, because I think this topic is something that people can easily get wrong, right? It might seem very straightforward to just publish data. And I think that initial aspect you covered on security, on ensuring that you know when to publish data to the web and when to publish to a portal, and when to put it in an organization SharePoint. They're very, very key and important. Yeah. And I think we've all learned a ton from this session. So yeah, I'm really, really pleased, right? I think if anybody has any questions, please feel free. This is the final chance. But Andrew, Temidayo, who's also Andrew, has actually put us through a lot of things. And if you're in the comments, you can see he put the GitHub profile that he shared was to show the code on how to use Jupyter Power BI Embed in Jupyter notebooks, right? That's the GitHub profile, right? That you shared, the GitHub repository that you shared, rather. Okay, super.
Yeah.
And the other resources are to help you, I suppose, learn how to embed Power BI. And there's one on Novi Pro. The other one is on Power BI Embedded Analytics, if you wanted to find out more. Yeah, so I think that's that wraps it up for today. Since we don't have any more questions, Temidayo, has been a fantastic time having you on our Data Digest. If you're just joining us for the first time, please note that this is a recorded session. We're going to have a section on our website where you can review the recordings, the presentation, and actually maybe even get a digest in form of a text tutorial that will go along with this Data Digest. But yeah, spend some time, visit our website, see what we have, and we'll catch you guys in 2 weeks for episode 12 of our Data Digest. So thank you very much. Thank you very much, Temidayo. It's an honor again to have you.
Thank you guys. Bye.
Yeah. Bye.